This is another episode which is available in full video on our YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/The Rachel Cancer Scam. Episode 22 of The Messenger. I keep going back to this concept of starting it a year and a half ago and honestly feeling like I was sitting in the dark, I was alone, and then things started to happen every week, every month. And lately, sometimes every day, I'm getting new information about Rachel and the horrible things that she's done that I never knew about. The depths that she will go to ruin someone's life for sport, it's never ending. And when I started this, I was all alone. And now I have your support, all of you. Over 1 million downloads, thousands of followers. And I'm grateful that you've been along for the ride, beyond grateful. At the end of August, when I recorded episode 20, I thought I was done. I was prepared to say, you know what, this is the final episode. I am done. And then I realized I couldn't end there. I was hoping it would be over. But things like what you're about to hear today happen. And I think to myself, if I stop here, then Rachel goes on, scorching the earth, unchecked. And I can't let that happen.
Oh, and because I'm honest and not a liar, here for your records are my pilot's license and RN license. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to walk away from defending myself beyond that.
You heard me talk last week about these cases involving Rachel and what's happening in court. Rachel has made a cottage industry of lying to the courts. This is the background information she put into the renewal for that restraining order to make it permanent, indicating that Mark was violent towards her and the children, making threats to hurt her and harassing them. That's a court document signed under the penalty of perjury. She just doesn't care about the truth. It doesn't exist in her delusional world. Seems like that's a growing enterprise in a way. And honestly, why would she not lie? She's been lying every day of her whole life, and she gets away with it. She skates. Here's an example of that fraud. This is the letter that Rachel received on August 8th of 2013. It's from the Community Action Partnership of San Luis Obispo, the Caps Load Child Care Resource Connection. The letter states that she received child care services from July 2nd of 2012 through June 13th of 2013, and she was not eligible for them. They indicated that she provided false proof of residential address as well as false proof of absent parent, meaning that she claimed that Mark was not in the marital home. She took $28,000 and some change in benefits, and they were looking to get that back and another $4,000 for administrative fees. Total $34,046.13. She never paid that bill. And what you're seeing now is a collection letter that was sent to Rachel on December 18th of 2024, indicating that she still owes now over $81,000 to them in post-judgment fees and costs after 11 years of dodging that bill. She's committed real crimes and real fraud, but she walks the streets every single day looking for another Mark, both literally and figuratively. Another Mark like her husband, someone to take care of her, someone to take advantage of, and another Mark like the prey she sucks the blood out of. No family member, no coworker, no one she can reach in person or by phone or by email is safe from her scams. We're all Marks in a way.
I have missed you the whole time. I just thought that one day I would finally just go through with suicide. I just struggled leaving the girls alone with him. Now, they think he is the perfect father and I'm the awful one. I know I am awful, but I always loved them and took care of them. I did everything I could to survive, to be there for them.
Can I really quit this podcast when every single month under oath she's lying? She's perjuring herself? I can't quit. Something else happened. I got information that's going to make you scream. The striking similarities between what I'm about to share with you and what she did to me. It's uncanny. In May, I received a DM on Instagram from a man that claimed that his sister lived with Rachel in 2012 or 2013, that she was a roommate of Rachel's and the girls. Now, I was immediately suspicious because I knew that Mark and Rachel had never split up. I couldn't imagine that they'd have a roommate. But I was wrong. I made contact with Mark, who confirmed the story. The brother was right. She did indeed live with Rachel and Mark and the girls in 2012 and in 2013. She and Rachel met during her time in Morro Bay. I was able to speak with her, and she'll be joining us on an upcoming episode. It's somewhat comical how she came onto this podcast and the lengths that Rachel went to try to stop her, and I'll get into that on another episode. But I'm excited for you to hear it. She shared a lot of information with me about what she saw, what she experienced with Rachel and her family. She also had information about not one, but two men that Rachel had affairs with back in those days. One of those two men is of particular interest to me, a man that she worked with at Wells Fargo. She gave me his info. I made contact, and we connected. He and I spoke, and as I record this, I'm awaiting word that he'll join us. I'm discussing this with you now because it's too much to hang on to the story. The story has me unsettled. It has me shook, even. This story speaks to how calculated that Rachel is. During 2011, Rachel met the man I refer to as Wells Fargo man while she was working at Wells Fargo. She began an affair with him. This started simply, like most. For him, it was simple. Couple dates, they got along, they hit it off. He thought that Rachel, just like I did, was separated from Mark. This story will illustrate for you what a risk taker Rachel was. Mark was often gone from the home at that time, sometimes for a week or more at a time. He was working in various places north and south of Morro Bay in California. Rachel told this man that she and Mark were separated, and he would come to stay periodically, just so she could let him see the girls. That was the talk track, and Rachel was just that kind of mom. By the way, Rachel not only worked at Wells Fargo, but before she developed her lawyer and trauma nurse and helicopter pilot plot lines, all of that, she claimed to be a wedding photographer, often traveling to shoots up and down the California coast. Napa, Big Sur, San Francisco, Malibu, Beverly Hills, and Los Angeles, among other places. She's a regular superwoman, isn't she? Rachel and Wells Fargo man got pregnant not once, but twice. He thinks she was really pregnant at least one of those times. He says, "I felt something growing in her belly. I swear I did." She claimed to have lost that first baby, and then the second time she was pregnant with twins. By the way, at the same time that she became pregnant with these twins, she indicated to him that she had cancer. She ended up losing the twins as a result. And he was told by Rachel that she got a cemetery plot in San Luis Obispo. I got an urn. He got a cemetery plot. The evolution of the scam. This affair, it lasted about a year, according to him. And here's where another huge lie that'll sound familiar came out. Rachel painting Mark as a villain, the evil abuser. Rachel claimed that Mark was responsible for an accident involving one of the girls, a broken arm, and that CPS was now involved. And as a result of not wanting to cooperate with CPS, Rachel was told that she needed to stay by this daughter's side 24/7, leaving her no time to live her new life with the man she was having an affair with, Wells Fargo man. This is where I'll ask you to remember back to the catastrophe that she created when I was living in that hotel next door to her in Atascadero over the winter and early spring of 2022. She claimed that one of her daughters was the victim of a vicious assault. Same thing happened with CPS. They demanded that Rachel stay by her side 24/7. That would leave Rachel little or no time to see me. Wells Fargo man, he grew tired of the excuses and ended the relationship. Turns out he's smarter than I am. Now, we finished our chat about their history together, and I asked him to consider joining the podcast. He's listened to it all. He's as caught up as you probably are. He told me he'd be back in touch. But the next day, I got a text message from him. Again, he said, I just thought of something that you may want to know. It just came to me last night. After their breakup, Rachel allegedly had a near-death experience while skydiving. Her chute allegedly didn't open, and she went careening to the ground, broken ribs, broken leg. And a colleague, a friend of Rachel's that was by her side at the hospital, a wedding photographer, a friend that was by Rachel's side in the hospital, reached out to this man, to Wells Fargo man. He said, I found your name in her phone. There was a heart next to your name. The hospital staff, they weren't sure whether Rachel was going to wake up. And when she did wake up, she had amnesia. She could not only not remember who this man was, Wells Fargo man, but she couldn't remember who she was. And her friend said that she was asking about Wells Fargo man because there was a heart emoji next to his name. Her friend showed Rachel pictures of Wells Fargo man and Rachel together. Said those pictures, they made her smile. He indicated that a short time later, she actually reached out to Wells Fargo man via text to try to help remember. Can you fucking believe this? Where does it end? How low does it go? There seems to be no bottom with this. None. A friend of mine told me over the fall, you may have heard this. She said, with everything you know, with everything you're learning, can you imagine what you don't know? Let's pause for just a second, all right? We haven't done the scorecard in a while. Let's do a scorecard now with the fake pregnancies. Rachel's first boyfriend, Brad, she told him they were having twins. That's 2. The man in this story, twins and then another baby. That's 3. We got Mark, fake pregnancy in 2015. We got Mike Cherry with twins, and we got me. That's 9. 9 fake pregnancies. So I've come to the conclusion, and I wanted you to be the first to know. At the end of August, I was 100% sure that I was done. You wouldn't hear from me. You wouldn't see me again. But now, I'm 1,000% certain that the show must go on. We got to get to the bottom of every scam. We need to get Marcus' kids back. Hell, we even need to save her dumb boyfriend, Russ, from himself. Russ, this doesn't end well for you. Get out now, you dope. I'm doing you a favor here. And most importantly, we need justice. If you lie and you scam and you commit fraud, we can't just let it go. We need to press on. And a message for Rachel, because I know that you're listening. Until you're locked up, until you're in jail, I'm not fucking leaving.
At Arizona State University, we made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.